Hey guys, I'm FatBuddyCat, and this is my custom little mini bike. Today, not only are we working on a Coleman CT100U, but it's about 100 degrees out here in my shed. I had to upgrade the fan situation a little bit, so now we're cutting some big wind. About as good as it's gonna get. Well, here's the lowdown, or what I don't want to be low down. We're going to be installing a 1-inch live axle. I'm going to use this 11x6x5 tire and rim combination. Yeah, she's a little one, but that's what I'm working with. If we tried to line up with the original axle holes, this thing's going to be sitting about that far off the ground. This front fork isn't the easiest thing to adjust. I don't have the factory one anymore, so we're going to have to adjust the rear to the front, meaning we're going to set the front wheel and tire, and then we'll figure out where this bad boy is going to go. I'm going to get this frame and everything out of the way. I'll grab such said wheel, and I'll try to get all the tools and supplies that we'll need too. We're going to be using the 6-inch Azusa Astro split rim. This is a 6x3, and the reason I went with a 6-inch over another 5-inch is simply for this scooter tire right here. This is a 410356. I went ahead and grabbed a matching tube for it. When you use the split rim, you have to switch to a tube. If you put this on, say like a Doodlebug or a Coleman rim, you can actually go tubeless. I'm going to start by putting the tube in the tire, and then I'm going to add a little bit of air with OMB Manual. I do believe that is just about going to get it. You don't want it inflated so much that the tube is sticking down in between the two beads, kind of like it is there, but if it had a little more air, I'm going to give it just a squeege more. Get that out of the situation, and now we're going to have to line up the valve stem with the hole that is split between the two rims. I have my tire rotation going this way. Alright, and that's because I want my valve stem on the other side. It's going to be on the other side once that rim is set too. That way it's not behind the sprocket. I like them to match. This wheel came with the hardware. It's like 5 bolts with 5 nylock nuts. I'll get this apart and I'll try to line it up and get the 2 halves back together. I have one side of the split rim in place and it's turned upside down so that you can see it from the inside. There's our valve stem and our direction. So once the other side is added and everything's bolted together and the rim is standing up, I know that that is the brake side and this will be our sprocket side. We're going the right way, so I can now proceed. I'm making sure that that tube isn't going to get pinched between the 2 halves before I even attempt it. Looks like we have a clean shot there. I'm just leaving the sticker. I don't think that's going to hurt anything. For good luck. Okay. That was easy. Plenty of room. Well, get the bolts and nuts on there and add more air. This is really easy. While I'm adding the air this time, I'm just going with a little bit and then I'm letting it sit. The valve is letting a little bit trickle out. I'll go with a little bit more. Nice and slow. Make sure that my valve is still coming out straight. Nothing's twisted, pinched, or bound. We're really going to have to add some to set those beads. I think I can do it with this pump though. I'm going to keep going until things start to get good and firm. It's expanding. I'll let it trickle. Do a little inspection. I'm going to grab my tire gauge. I'm going to add just a little bit more air and I'll let that sit while I'm searching for it. Alright, I have my gauge. I took the pump off, took the valve off, you know what I mean, and now I'm going to tighten these bolts all the way. Once everything's set, then I'm going to take it up to, I think this is 35 PSI. I'll go like 40 and see where that's at, just to kind of set the bead before I back it off. If I can go a little more, I will. But that's what I'm aiming for. looks like I got to about 38, and this is as solid as can be. I'm going to go ahead and back it off to somewhere between 25 and 30 pounds. Pushing on it, put some weight to it. It's got a little bit of bounce. I'd say it's just right about where we need to be. This rim and tire combination came with a set of 5/8 bearings. I'm going to pop the seal on these just on the outside here, stuff them with some red grease, and then put the seals back on. These bearings come out, they're completely replaceable. The only reason I'm doing one side is because they're brand new. I'm really packing it in there. You better believe that that's going to mingle with whatever was already in there, and you know, the two seals will do what they have to do in keeping them together. Just press down. We're back in there with the paper towel, and we're done. I already did the other side. I have a 5/8 axle that's going to go with these 5/8 bearings now. That's a bit of an upgrade. Our fork is currently, oh, watch out, Albamba, only 12 millimeter. So we're gonna have to ream that out. I have a, oh, it says 5/8 on it somewhere. There it is, 5/8 drill bit. It's a big son of a gun. It's a lot bigger than that 12 millimeter. So I'm just gonna work my way up to it and then send that puppy through. This is gonna go a little bit from one side and then a little bit from the other. If you look at them up close, they're not like completely solid. There's like a wallowed out piece in the middle, I believe. Maybe not. Darn. Means I have to get more drill bits. This is going to take a couple steps, I think. I'm doing this in 3 steps. So I used a 1/2 inch and now a 9/16. When you're using these big hog bits, get whatever you're working on in position the best you can. I have those 2 fender mounts that are on here. I'll just pull it out. The shock slid in right up against the vise. I'm gonna have to open it up and reset it, but I'm then wrapping it with a towel and then giving it a light clamp. Makes it a whole lot easier. Otherwise, you're probably going to end up breaking something. If not your wrist, probably the casting on the shock itself. This really isn't about installing the fork, but I do have it back on the mini bike. Everything is tight at the lower clamp and the top plate. I have my 5/8 axle in place. lo and behold, I'm a little short. This is a 10-inch. I'll have to source an 11, maybe even a 12. I'd really like to get the threads all the way through. That way we're sitting on this actual smooth portion. This is going to be good enough for a mock-up though. We're going to get the front wheel on here, and then we could measure for the spacers. We're going to measure for the spacers, and then I'm going to see if I can order something close to the exact length rather than trying to cut them. With this wheel centered between the two fork tubes, I'm measuring about 2 1/8 from the face of the wheel to the face of the tube. The closest size that I could get in a spacer is a 2 1/4. So I'm going to order up a couple of those, and I'll just file them back in 1/8 inch. Now I have to set this thing up on blocks and find where it's going to sit level along the bottom of the frame. You got to be pretty close right there. We're up just a little bit in the rear, but technically that front wheel is just a little bit lower on that other workbench. It's just a mock-up. Well, this is staying. This could change. So could that. We don't really have to worry about the brake or the sprocket as much as we do is getting some tabs on here and mounting that live axle. Alright, I have a complete kit and a partial plan. Don't expect anything too exotic. I'm going to try to keep this as simple as possible. Have a good night, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.
I want you to stay.